Welcome back to S&S Grills. I'm Russ Jones with the YouTube channel Smoky Ribs Barbecue, and today I'm going to show you my version or my take on a honey baked ham. We're going to be doing this in the S&S kettle. We're going to get started right after this. All right, let me show you my setup here real quick. Take a look at this. Now this is from my last cook just a couple of days ago. Now when I got finished with that cook, I took and shut off the bottom vent and I cut off the top vent, and it totally extinguished these coals, as you can see. I mean, they went completely out, which shows you just how tight this kettle is. There's no leaks. If there was enough leakage in here and it could still ventilate, that never would have went out like it did. So that should tell you a lot right there. Now what I'm going to do, since I still have basically a full basket of charcoal here, I'm just going to reinforce it with a few new charcoals, and I'm going to show you that here in a few minutes, and from that point we'll light it up and I'll show you my settings for both of my vents and the temps I'm going to be dialing in at. So this didn't take many charcoal, as you can see, probably about 10 extra briquettes, and that is what I'm using is a charcoal briquette. Now here in the corners you can see I placed a couple of tumbleweeds here and here, or fire starters, and all we want to do is just light those up. Now just that one little flame there is going to light these tumbleweeds, and from there it's going to light this whole entire corner of these charcoal. Now, I'll bring you back here in about 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm going to show you how we're going to adjust the bottom vent and the top vent and get ready for this cook. Now typically what they do at the honey baked ham is they take a fully smoked ham that they smoked, and then after it's all come out of the smoker, they lay them out and they get a torch similar to this, and that's what they actually take and melt and caramelize this sugar coating. They sprinkle sugar all over it, and it's not just sugar, it's seasonings, there's some other ingredients. A lot of that is on their ingredients label, and that's what I'll be mimicking with this somewhat, not exactly. I want to keep this user friendly to where you can find everything that I'm doing in your local supermarket, to where you don't have to order anything and still get really good results. Instead of a torch, we're using this kettle here. We're going to start off just to pretty much just warm this back up. It don't really have to be no more than just room temperature warmer. So fully cooked ham, I can take this ham, slice off pieces of it, and make a ham sandwich right now. It's completely safe, 100% cooked. So the object here is just to warm it through. Probably gonna get it up to about 130, because I want some of that excess moisture that they inject into these hams to escape. I don't want to dry it out, I just want to get rid of some of that excess water, and from there I'll show you what we'll do as far as this coating and how we're going to try to mimic what they do with a torch. Is take this lever here on the bottom and close this down to about right here. I'm shooting for about 250 degrees. I've taken my dripping griddle and I've wrapped it completely with foil. Just going to lay that here in the bottom, and all that rendering from this ham is going to go into this foil, and it's going to make it very easy. Remember, we're going to have a big bunch of sugary mess going on here, so we definitely need to prepare for easier cleanup. All right, so I'm going to take and open my top vent, about halfway open. That should be good. Going to be monitoring my thermometer here. When I hit 250 degrees, I'll bring you back. We'll be putting the ham on the grate at that point. So I've got this ham on a little rack to make it easier to remove when we're ready to remove it. And it's just a store-bought ham. It's already been spiral cut, as you can see here. And basically we're just warming this back through. So for right now, let's just put a cover on it. Let this come back up to temperature, roughly 250. If we get up to 275, that'll be fine too. Let's go ahead and get our sugar concoction put together, because this ham's coming off very soon. Let's take our brown sugar. This is 1.5 cups of brown sugar going in. 3 tablespoons of plain gelatin going in. I'm going in with 1/2 cup of white sugar. I've got 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, but I think I'm going in with just half of that, 1.5 tablespoons. So I'm going with 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. This is 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger going in. This is 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. and nutmeg, half a teaspoon. All right, that's all the ingredients. Yeah, that's all of them. So you might be wondering, what is the gelatin for? What is the cornstarch for? They're both thickening agents. The gelatin tends to thicken as it cools down, whereas cornstarch thickens as it's heating up. Plus it gets thicker as it's cooling down. So I believe they're interacting, working together to where when you really put that intense heat on there, it begins instant thickening in this caramelization and melting of the sugars. All right, let's take a look at this ham. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the foil and we have rendered out some, yeah, quite a bit actually, of the excess water. So I'm going to take and just remove this, put it over here. And we're just gonna let that set for a few minutes. We're gonna pat this dry. So I've added more charcoal, got a full basket. We're gonna light these tumbleweeds. We're just gonna leave this open. I'm gonna open my bottom vent wide open. I have been taking a paper towel and just, like I said, just knocking off any water that's puddled up. It's looking really good. Apply some honey. Gonna use it more like a binder than anything else. It's nice and thick. This ham is nice and warm, just like I want it. It's completely edible like it is, but we're getting ready to kick this up big time. Add that nice little sweet crisp crust to it. So on with this sugar mix, sugar and spice. You want it really heavy. This is not all of it. This is just what I've poured into this shaker. We got a nice hot cold bed, and I'm here to tell you it feels pretty good on a cold day. Now I'm going to place this ham on here and we're going to immediately close the lid, and I may have to rotate this one time as this intense heat is coming over here on this side. And it's something you don't want to wait too many minutes in between checking on, because you could easily burn this. Remember, you're dealing with sugars. So I'm gonna look at it probably after 5 minutes and just take a look and see how it's doing, what's going on with it, and then, you know, kind of judge it from there. But let that heat get it going good before we do anything. So let me get my other glove on here. Grab our ham. On we go. On with the lid. Want our vent wide open, bottom one's wide open. All right, let's take a look. Oh yeah, look at all that bubbling action going on. Still got a little bit of sugar here, needs to be caramelized. I think I'm gonna go ahead and spin it at this point. Last thing I want to do is start to burn this. By the way, I did open the smoke hole as well. I've done that just to give it even more air. And we're starting to melt on the top here. We'll be back. All right, we have done all we can do with this. It looks really good, smells incredible. We're just gonna lay it here on this side table. So I've put my lid on, I've closed all vents. That way I can save some of this charcoal for the next time, as I showed you at the beginning of this video. I'm really liking the results of this. I was worried about this being more like a syrup and not really wanting to solidify, but it's definitely solidifying on this edge right here. Still a little sticky right here, but not bad. So I'm gonna take and just slice off a piece right here. It's super glazed, I know that. Oh man, those flavors are just incredible. To me, it really has that Christmassy vibe going on, you know, the holidays. Now Easter's right around the corner, and I think this would be a very good Easter ham as well. Once you try this, I think you're going to be hard pressed to ever go back to any other glaze. This is really, really good. I hope I got it across to you in a really good way. And also remember, I did not add any extra smoke to this. I think extra smoke would have been too much, would have really been overpowering on this. and especially if you had that smoke going on while you had that coating on there, all that smoke getting on top of that sugar would not be good. I would not recommend doing that. I would keep it as is. Now I think we did a pretty good job replicating the honey baked ham. That flavor is almost identical as far as the spices and everything goes. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Russ Jones with S&S Grills, and remember, 2 zones are better than 1.